this is the best board to be on, and our tradition is for the board meeting in December is if you're new, we'd like you to come up front and do an a cappella holiday song. Just joking. I told you we're the most fun. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to consider the meetings from our November 10th meeting, which I think set a record for quickest. Any questions from the board members on those meeting notes? Is there a motion to approve?
I move that they do.
Second.
You moved. I'll second your motion.
All in favor?
Thank you, sir.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. This is our public comment period, so if there's anybody from the public who would like to address the board, please come do so now. Seeing that there was no public comment requested, we're going to move on to number 4, which is an amendment approval. Consideration of the request of Orchard Foundation LLC for an amendment to that certain $7,883,400 healthcare facilities revenue bond. Is there someone who'd like to address the board?
Russ Miller with Bassbury and Sims. We're bond counsel on this bond issue. Here today, Julia Wilson, who's a business manager at Tennessee Family Solutions. They're the 501c3 behind this. And Charlie Hannon from First Horizon Bank. They are the holder of the bond. We've actually done this amendment a few times now over the years. You may recall the bond was originally issued in 2011. It was about $8 million when it was originally issued. The proceeds were used to purchase 43 community group homes across Davidson County and Rutherford County that serve intellectually disabled people. And all we're doing today, that loan or that bond has now been paid down to about $2 million. The bank has agreed to hold the rate fixed for 5-year periods, and so the current 5-year period is expiring, I think February 1st of next year, maybe. And so, getting out ahead of that, wanting to do an amendment, the bank is actually going to hold this bond to maturity now. So it will mature in, I think, March 1st of 2031. And so that they will set the fixed rate based on the market conditions when this current period expires, which is February 1. And then the bank will hold that to maturity at this point. No other amendments to the deal. Julia can certainly answer any questions that you all have about the organization or the financing, but I'm happy to help too. So.
I'd love, Julie, if you just tell us a little bit about it. This is exciting. Obviously, affordability is a huge issue, and you all are providing housing to a vulnerable population. So maybe take a moment to tell us the story, how this works, and whatever details you can share about the program. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so TFS provides care for adults with intellectual disabilities. So that's 18 and up. The biggest thing is we try to get them in the community with everybody. So we have different communities within Murfreesboro and Smyrna that these individuals live in with their caretakers. So we just try to provide easy and accessible care for them. We had a clinic that we had as well for care for these individuals, and yeah, we just try to make it easy and have a good life.
And are they receiving assistance for the? Are they paying rent?
Yes, they do pay rent. It's at a lower rate, but they do pay rent. Yes.
And some of them receive assistance through various methods, and you all sort of hold it to be affordable. Some of them have private pay, I presume.
Yes, I think a lot of it comes from like Social Security. Okay. That's most of the pay, but yeah, they do have a rent that they pay. It's a low fee, but we typically cover everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You said Smyrna, Murfreesboro.
Smyrna and Murfreesboro. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but the 43 homes are in Davidson County?
Yeah, there's like a couple other homes around, but it's mainly in Smyrna and Murfreesboro.
Davidson and Rutherford also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the group?
You're lobbying aggressively for rate cuts, I'm sure, before it gets fixed in February. Enough interest rate jokes.
Okay.
I move approval of the amendment.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Amendment approved. Thank you. We'll move on to number 5, which is a preliminary approval, consideration of the request of Hermitage Station LP for preliminary approval of the issuance not to exceed $60 million multifamily housing revenue bonds. There's a public hearing requirement here, so is there anybody that would like to address the board or the room? Please.
And before, I don't know if we need to do this now or later, but I need to recuse myself from this matter because the firm that I work with is involved in this transaction.
So recused.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this cold December morning and for all that you do for the community. We know that I serve on another commission, so I know it's a lot of time, so appreciate that. Just want to provide some context on this transaction. This, we're coming to you guys pretty early, admittedly. This is largely to preserve what is called a qualified census tract. I think you guys may have been educated on that previously, but long story short, the demographics in this particular community have changed dramatically in the past decade, and that affects essentially how the federal government sees this property. But by preserving this qualified census tract, it allows you to generate the needed tax credits to make the project financially feasible. And so what's good about that is it allows for low-income individuals who would ordinarily be priced out to be able to stay in a thriving community. And so we're excited about the opportunity to do that. There's still a long way to go. This is just the first step of many. So we're very happy to come back to you guys at a later date to describe how the progress is coming on this project, hoping to continue moving forward. So just generally speaking, this is a low-income housing tax credit project, a mix of 1s, 2s, 3s, maybe some 4s, still playing around with that. Also still playing around with some of the financing that's tied to it. But what's really exciting about this, beyond just the location and expiring qualified census tract, is that it would become the state's first rail-oriented, affordable housing development. So it actually backs up to the Hermitage Station train tracks, immediately adjacent to RTA, WeGo's Hermitage Station. So folks would be able to really walk out their apartment, hop on a train, come downtown. Also, there's 2 bus lines along the frontage. So literally from this parcel, you could get anywhere in the county without hopping in a car. So we're really excited about the opportunities that provides. Really close walking distance to a couple grocery stores, a couple blocks away, the brand new Huawei, or I think it was Huawei. Yeah. So that's about to start construction. So again, lots of activity happening in this area that will provide a lot of opportunities for our residents. And we've had, just to provide some more context, we've had initial conversations with the planning department requiring a rezoning. They are supportive of this preliminary inquiry process. Councilmember Huffman, whose district this is in, he's also preliminarily in support of this. So the plan is to, assuming approval today, we would submit for a tax credit application before the end of the month, preserve the qualified census tract, and start that community engagement process and the rezoning following that. So we would come back, hopefully, again, before you guys, before we apply, provide an update on the zoning process, make sure that we're still on track. If you guys have any further questions, to make sure that we're hitting all those needs. Another exciting point, as Matt mentioned, we're trying to partner with Pathway on the financing structure in this transaction. So again, really, we think it's going to be a great project for the community in terms of providing affordability long-term in a rapidly changing community. So happy to take any questions.
Matt recused himself because his firm was working on it, so he's not going to be engaged.
So I noticed, so is it still 30% AMI to 80%?
So we're still playing around with that.
What it is.
Yeah, so a lot of that will change depending on the other sources of financing that come into play. So all the units, no matter what, are going to be 80% and below. The average is most likely going to be at 60% AMI.
Okay. And then something, of course, that piqued my interest, but is this a part of the census tract that it was for trying to address the need of low-income Black women?
Yes. So
and the growth there.
So, great point. So, if you guys are familiar, there's a Harvard economist named Raj Chetty.
Okay.
And so Raj Chetty, he has this entire study housed at Harvard through their Opportunity Atlas. And so what they've done is they have tracked longitudinal socioeconomic status, so like over decades, dating back to the 70s. And so they were somehow able to get anonymized IRS data, so again, tracking incomes of kids that were born in certain census tracts and how they turned out 30 years later. So it's one of the only studies in the country that's ever done that. So But it looked at every census tract in the country. And so what we've found in our own portfolio here in Nashville is that the largest percentage of folks that we serve are Black women. And so this specific census tract has shown quantitatively that it's had produced better outcomes long-term for that specific population demographic. And again, if we're able to lock in that qualified census tract, it continues to bolster that opportunity.
That's good.
Any other questions from the board? Is there a motion on number 5?
So moved.
Move for approval. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, preliminarily approved. Excellent, thank you very much. Moving on to number 6, also another preliminary approval, consideration of the request from Meridian Street LP for preliminary approval of the issuance not to exceed $62 million in multifamily housing revenue bonds. Is there anyone publicly who'd like to approach for a public hearing? If not, seeing no, please address us.
Hey, good morning. Reed Lauer, Holiday Ventures. Good to see you all. So this project is it's a public-private partnership between the McNeely Center and Holiday Ventures. The McNeely Center is a 100-year-old early learning center nonprofit that's been serving the McFerrin Park neighborhood just across the river. And they're at a point where their buildings are getting old, and they're also sitting on 4.16 acres, so a big site for an early learning center. And they really only have 2 small buildings and a lot of extra space. So we really saw this as a special opportunity to partner and preserve the great work that they're already doing, and really extend their work for the next 50 to 100 years by partnering, building them a new early learning center that they'll own and operate, and an opportunity to build up to 300 units of affordable housing. In really this unbeatable location. I mean, you could walk here from the site if you wanted to. So similar to the project Josh was just describing, this neighborhood is rapidly changing and is moving out of a qualified census tract because there are high earners moving to the neighborhood, basically pushing it out of the QCT. So it's really an amazing opportunity to preserve the QCT, and that's why we're here today, to seek your preliminary approval and support, and we'll ultimately, if granted, we'll get that, we'll submit to THDA by the end of the year and preserve the QCT, which the next step after that will go through rezoning, and we'll be back before you all to ask for your approval again before we submit for tax credits and bonds.
So on this one, after consultation with our council, I do not need to recuse myself, but should note for the public that I was in conversation with members of the board, including my ex-wife, who was a member of the board at one point, about this project, and am aware of it and encouraged it, and recommended the developers who are here today. So I have not a personal interest in it, so don't need to recuse myself, but did want to make note of that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Questions from the board?
So I'd just like to hear a little bit more. I love the idea of having for the Early Learning Center, but I'm wondering have you been able to see any interest from the parents of those kids that would want to move into the place? Or, is it, I know it's open to everyone, but is there any interest? Have you seen that, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one thing I'd say is we're still pretty early stages. McNeely Center is actually working with their staff and families to announce this project on Monday. So that'll be interesting to see that unfold. But I think, given the current state of the McNeely Center and the building, like the quality of the building, I think the families and the community will be really excited about the opportunity to build a brand new state-of-the-art early learning center. That's really an opportunity to serve the same families, just in a nicer building. So I think there's going to be a lot of support.
Yeah, and I noticed that it has a great connection for transportation as well.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah, multimodal, multiple bus stops adjacent to the site. There's a new dedicated bike lane that was just put in on Dickerson Pike, so you could bike to downtown, you could bike to where the new Oracle is going to be, you could bike to Germantown, where the East Bank will eventually be. So really a great opportunity, and then of course the bus line. You can bus anywhere in Davidson County from the site.
Things we always talk about is like displacement or like overlap or what happens in the meantime. I know you said that the current building is kind of in disrepair. What happens in the meantime?
Yeah, great question. So really two options that we're exploring. One is relocation to a neighboring site where McNeely would not lose operation at all, or we'll come up with a construction phasing plan that builds around their existing facility, obviously with safety as our number one focus. So in no scheme would they lose operation. Yeah.
That's great.
To that point, this is at least the second time that you guys have taken an older, outdated building not far away with Shelby House and been able to improve both the operations of the existing organization, providing a needed service in the community, but also add a significant number of housing units on top of it. Are there lessons learned from the Shelby House experience that you guys are able to bring to bear here?
Yeah.
Benefits of that process?
Yeah, lots of benefits and lots of learning lessons that we took away from the Shelby House SRC example. Honestly, in terms of the structure of the partnership, there's not a lot that we're changing because it worked so well and it was such a success for the nonprofit partner, the community, but also for the affordable housing. So in terms of structure, there's not going to be a lot that's different. We're really repeating the P3 model. But yes, in terms of prepping our nonprofit partners for THDA applications and just the whole educational process around what goes into these complicated LIHTC deals, there's a lot of learning lessons, and we're applying those to this project.
The first time you do anything, it's harder.
Yeah.
So the folks at McNeely Center may benefit from the hard plowing of the field you did previously with Samaritan's.
Absolutely.
Samaritan's
Yeah.
Promise.
Samaritan Recovery Community.
Samaritan Recovery.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Question.
What's the capacity of the current learning center versus what it will be going forward?
Yeah, so it's right about 125 kids, and they want to expand. They want to probably, and again, we're early on in the programming, but TBD on that, it'll probably be around 170, 180 kids with maybe some classrooms to grow into. But yeah, early stages, so I think next time we're here, we'll be able to have a better answer on how much square footage and what their capacity will be and really what their goal is. Yeah.
Any questions to the board? Is there a motion one way or another?
Move approval.
Move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank
Approved. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Preliminary approval. Moving on to number 7. This is final approval for Vanderbilt. Consideration of the request of Vanderbilt University Medical Center for final approval of the issuance of those certain $650 million taxable revenue bonds for the medical center. Who would like to address the room? Yes.
Good morning, my name is Dwight Seeley. I'm representing Finance and Treasury for VMC. With me today is Matt Scanlon, who oversees our government and community affairs. Our purpose today is to ask for approval to issue up to $650 million in taxable revenue bonds to purchase the Tenova Gateway assets in Clarksville and surrounding counties. The bonds will be sold to RBC and will mature in 6 months. Since 2021, VMC has held a 20% minority interest in the Tenova Gateway assets, and we plan to purchase the remaining 80%. The Tenova Gateway assets include a 270-bed hospital, inpatient, outpatient rehab, freestanding ED, and several clinics, physician practices in Clarksville, Dover, and Pleasant View. We're in the process of obtaining the necessary county consents in each of these locations outside of Davidson County. We believe that the acquisition of Tennova strengthens VUMC's ability to serve patients across Middle Tennessee. It supports our strategy to provide a high-quality health care for patients in a more convenient community setting that's cost-effective. We expect this transaction to close on January 1st, pending any regulatory approvals. And with that, I'm open to answer any questions or defer to Matt.
Any questions from the board?
Are there any anticipated changes in care, either expansion or contraction, or where are you in the planning process for how you might serve the community differently from how it's been operating over the last few years?
Yes, to all of those. We expect the care to be equivalent to our other regional facilities that we've acquired at Wilson, Tullahoma, and Bedford County, and bring them up to our VUMC standards.
Have you gotten any feedback from local leadership in the counties, plus minus neutral?
Yeah, so I've spent quite a lot of time in Clarksville over the last 3 weeks, meeting with community leaders, government leaders. They're all very supportive. And sorry I'm not standing up. I just had knee surgery yesterday. So.
Yesterday.
Oh my God.
At a VUMC facility?
Vacation right here.
At a VUMC outpatient clinic, yeah.
Oh,
It's just a scope. Everything's good. But yes, we've met with a lot of community leaders, very excited about us coming up there, as well as the various mayors, both the city and county mayor in Clarksville. So.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
You said the bonds mature in 6 months, so is this a sort of bridge financing? What's the long-range financing plan?
That's right. This is a bridge financing. We will come back to the board sometime in the early spring to refinance this into a permanent financing structure.
Okay. And what's the expected close date of the acquisition?
January 1st.
Okay, well, soon.
Yes, pending there's still some regulatory approvals that need to be completed.
You guys are busy.
We are.
Then we should get forward and approve this. I move approval of the.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Final approval approved. Thank you all so much, and thanks for being here with post-knee scope.
No worries.
That's beast. Item number 8, pilot final approval, request of Jefferson Multifamily LLC for final approval of the payment in lieu of tax transaction between the Board of Jefferson Multifamily LLC at 1712 Jefferson Street. Greetings, sir.
Hello, good morning. My name is Derek Morgan. I'm the founder of Kingdom Group. We've been working on a project in North Nashville for probably over 3.5 years now. Our company is missional based, and we work primarily in North Nashville and Atlanta. And so we work in the areas that are underserved and overlooked and try to bring impactful projects to those areas. And so through that process, we started acquiring land on Jefferson Street back in 2022. And as you guys are probably familiar, the parcels on Jefferson are really tiny because of the highway split. And so we've had to assemble about 8 parcels to have a large enough land mass to do something of scale. And so we've put together a pretty dynamic project, I would say. The project consists of 66 units of mixed income housing. The bottom floor will be corner to corner. They're a local nonprofit that focuses on entrepreneurship. And then we're actually working with Citizens Bank down the street to build them a new headquarters in Branch. And so we've been working with Travis and Hannah for the better part of 2 years. And the mixed income pilot is really the thing that gave us the certainty to move the project forward and bring all the other pieces to the capital stack. And so, that's a quick high overview. I'll open up for any questions, comments.
And before we get into questions, I also need to recuse myself from this one.
You're too busy, man.
Lots of math.
Besides being a big fan of Derek's, we are potentially involved in the transaction in a different way. So.
And I will say something, Matt, actually, you introduced us to our private equity group 5 years ago.
Don't hold it against me.
So I'll take you off. I'll owe you lunch.
Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, well, I'm excited to hear about Corner to Corner because I know what they've been doing all of these years. And then there will be a new, you said branch for Citizens Bank as well, so that's really good to hear. And so 66 units, AMI, anything, I didn't get a.
Yeah, so we
what's
went
the-
for the tier, I think it's tier 1, the 75%. 40% of the units will be at 75% AMI, and the remaining will be at market.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Anybody like to make a motion? I would like to move for final approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much for your time and your work for the great area of Jefferson Street. Number 9 is informational, which usually means you're gonna say something. Report on debt obligation.
It just means included in your packages for today were the 3 issues that have closed since our last meeting.
Yeah, okay, great. Any other comments, questions, thoughts? All right, if not, happy holidays, and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate your service to Nashville and the surrounding community.
Thank you.